What's up? Tim Sykes here with the man, Ellis. How you doing, man?
Better than most, mostly better.
Whoa!
That's my thing.
Whoa, everybody type that below. Wait.
Better than most.
Better than most.
Mostly better.
Whoa, that's like, I wish we had some champagne. I know, like,
that keeps perspective for me. That keeps
Wait,
perspective.
say it one more time.
Better than most and mostly better.
Everyone type that below. If we had champagne, I would be like, champagne for my real friends, real pain for my sham friends.
Champagne and campaigning.
Right?
There we go. Let's go.
How have you been?
I've been good, man. Busy with family, busy with opportunity, busy in the markets. But yeah, man, just enjoying life and like trying to embrace it all, but at the same time, just progressively moving forward.
Very positive.
Yeah.
I would vote for you if you're running for office. Are you running?
No, not at all. I don't. It actually will strip away from my innocence.
Don't lose your innocence. Remain the child at heart that you are.
I am.
Just a little recap in case you don't know. Ellis is one of the greatest mentors in the challenge, giving weekly webinars, keeping degenerates in check in chat.
All the time.
How does that feel?
You know what, man? Some people think sometimes it's like an ego trip, but it really isn't, because what I like to say is people like to read it how they feel. And so they'll either read it in an evil voice, they'll read it in a happy voice, whatever it is. But it's really me just trying to be as disconnected as possible and give the information in such a way to where it's like, I've either been through what you're talking about or like experiencing, or I've seen enough of it happen to where this is a forewarning for you. And so for me, it really is a medicine and an appreciation of like, wow, I remember if I was in the chat again, what did I want from the mentors, this and that? Because, if you remember, Good, Crook, Gritani was kind of like under the shadows and like doing this thing with his family. There wasn't much else, Yeah, so it was like, man, what would I want to hear from someone in that position? And when that opportunity presented itself from the work that I put in, I literally tried to lean back on that each and every day.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I do. I try to be the teacher to other people, the mentor that I never had.
Right.
But
Yep.
you went from what, negative 40,000 to now 400,000 in profits.
Yeah, so it was
That's
a
the
long
dream. That's what most people want.
Yeah, and it was a long road too, man. And what a lot of people, so you hear that part of it, right? But what you fail to
Say it
realize,
out loud.
Yeah.
Say it.
400,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I made over 450,000 plus.
In profits.
In profits, yeah. And it's amazing. It's an amazing thing,
Better
right?
than most, mostly better than other. I don't know how to
Keep
say
it simple. Better than most, mostly better.
We're going to title it that.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, so when you talk about like the work that's being put in, and this is what I don't like people to not understand. It didn't take away from the frustrations. It didn't take away from the family obligations. It didn't take away from the distractions. It didn't take away from the losses. All that is a part of it, right? But what I think you, myself, and others help out with is that we can shorten that learning curve by giving you more information on some of the mistakes that we made. So one of the ones that I always try to put
Biggest
into
mistake that people make.
The biggest mistake people make is thinking that there's not gonna be work put in. Like, I don't care what type of tool there is. I don't care what, information you're hearing outside of the chat room or in the chat room. You still have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Because you used to use the example all the time. You would never go into a doctor's office or an operation room and say, all right, guys, I got it from here, with no training or anything, right? We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars, hundreds of dollars, relatively speaking, right? You actually think that that's not going to require work, like to create from anywhere. So yeah, so people come in with this honeymoon effect and they're excited, which they should be. But then after week 2, week 3, week 4, a few months, they're like, wait a minute, this is like turning into work. And so what I would love to do is take a snap picture of any student that comes in.
Yeah.
And when they start to have these depressing moments, show them, hey, remember this desperation? Remember this person who said they would do anything?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You're putting that to the test now. And so me constantly either reminding you of that or keeping you on that guided path is really what I appreciate and love about the challenge.
So what you guys have to understand, I love a lot of what he said. You do have to put in the work, but we can help shorten your learning curve.
Yes.
And that's really the key. Like, there's no magic pill to just get rich, right? Like, there's no Ozempic for wealth.
As much as they
I guess
simplify
there's no
it.
pill for Ozempic.
Yeah, and I think I'll add one more word to that: application. I think it's very important to understand the information, but actually to apply the information, right? So my sports background, I played in the NFL. One of the examples I use for aspiring athletes and things is like, hey, why do you bench press? So that's that form where you're, locking out the bar. And so I get all kind of ridiculous answers about that, but I say you're truly using that to push another opponent off of your chest. When you start to connect the reasons and the whys to what you're doing, it gives you a different motivation of like, I have to keep at this because I'm doing it for this. Yeah. If you're in it just for profits, you've seen it enough. It usually fizzles itself out, right? You're gonna burn out. But if you start to think about, I wanna get my family out of debt. I'm doing this for my wife, my kid is sick, whatever it is, right? That other purpose externally, you start to find the reasons why and connect those dots.
Yeah, never forget your why, and then also understand that it's process over profits. Like, why do I want a better life for my family? How am I gonna get that? Why am I doing a watch list every day? Why am I staying disciplined in the trading? It's all related, right? Like if you want a better life for your family, you can't just gamble wildly. You're gonna lose like most traders.
Yeah.
Why do you do a watch list every day? Because you wanna be prepared ahead of time. You wanna know the stocks, you wanna know the charts, you wanna know where the support and resistance is because you recognize that preparation is key to success. So did you prepare a lot in the NFL before games, or would you just go into games and just be like, yeah, whatever happens, happens?
No, I remember getting afforded the opportunity for my first start as a rookie. So I started as a rookie playing for the New England Patriots, and I remember taking a lot of crap going into that game of is he really ready, is he really ready? And so I've worked very hard, and I remember we were playing the Miami Dolphins, and we were going down there to play them. And at the time, if anybody knows Bill Belichick and who he is, one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest, he gave me that opportunity. And so I knew going into that game as a rookie that I wasn't going to be afforded the opportunity to not play special teams because that's what all rookies typically did. And so playing on all four special teams, I knew that was just going to be compounded with the opportunity to start. So leading up into that game, I trained the entire practice week in the sauna. Just to take on the intensity of the heat and just the longevity and endurance I would have to have in that game. Well, I ended up coming out of that game with an interception. I ended up stopping the ball on the 1 yard line with the game-winning deflection from the receiver. Phenomenal, returning with the kickoff returns, a fumble recovery. I did a lot of things of preparation, right? Now, I could have went into that and said, hey, Mom, I made it. Guess what? You're going to see me on TV. But it didn't stop with that, right? Because I had gotten to a certain level, and now I knew that I had to step my game up even more. And that's what's in trading, right? To where when you start to make profits, which I did, I fell into that world of like, okay, I've made it, this and that. So I got up like 25 grand, I think, after coming from the 40 grand losses. Ended up losing it all back in a month. But what I told myself was, okay, I know how I got here now. So step 1 through 5, that's that process we talk about. Anybody that can show me profit without explanation, that's dangerous. Because that's gambling, right?
It's luck.
Yeah, it's luck, right? And so it's really scary because if you're telling me you're making money but you don't know how are you able to replicate any of that, right? But if you have a process, it's problematic to say, okay, step 1, step 3, wait a minute, there's a 2 in there. Oh, I missed 2. And when you start to align it that way and say, okay, if I do this every single night. Now, you know this, over time, as you get more into the process, there's certain things you start to cut out because of your experience, but you earn that.
There's variations.
Yeah, there's variations to it, but you earn that also. You don't go from A to Z. You have to go through the B's and everything else through it, right? And it's one of those things to where I really, really appreciate the process because the process is where the value is. It's in the journey.
100%. And I love what you said just about going into that game where, you're preparing ahead of time. That's the same thing with trading, right? You prepare ahead of time. Most people don't realize if you study at night, if you study on the weekends, if you're reviewing your charts, if you're looking at stocks to trade scans, if you're in the challenge, by the way, click the link below. You can get his weekly webinars, my weekly webinars, Jack's weekly webinars. If you're in the challenge, watch our webinars, ask us questions, but also review archive webinars.
Yes.
A lot of this is having a game plan before you risk your hard-earned money. What he said about going from negative to positive, there is a process, then you rinse and repeat that process. But if you don't have a process, maybe you get lucky on a hot play, maybe there's a hot market, but can you actually repeat a process that's replicable that can then be exponential? all of my millionaire students started with very small accounts. The question isn't, can I get profitable? It's, can you grow a small account into something life-changing and meaningful for you and your family? So if you can't, let's say, turn, $2,000 or $3,000 into $5,000 or $10,000. That's a good start, but that's still not life-changing money. But if you can do that small amount, 2,000 into 10,000, that's 5 times your money. Then you can do 10,000 to 50,000. Then you can do 50,000 into 250,000. It's the same process. That's the beauty of trading. This is what we want you to understand. Even though it's a lot of work, even though there's a process, it's not like other jobs. In other jobs, you might get a 10 or 15% raise year over year. Your employee of the month, you get like a 2% raise. With trading, if your process is fine-tuned and you actually really have it down pat, you can grow your account 10 times, 20 times, 50 times. I mean, you know that Jack went from $10,000 in his IRA last year, $10,000 into $1.8 million in 1 year.
Wow.
Okay? That's process. Now, you might say, wow, that's crazy. Jack Kellogg has already made millions. But the fact is that he can go with a small account and grow it exponentially. That's what anybody can do if you have your process down pat. And Jack is studying every night. He has all of his spreadsheets. If you tune into his weekly webinars, you can see his process. He is fine-tuned, and that's why he can succeed. Like, if for some reason you lost all your money now, if you lost the $450,000 that you made from trading, let's just say that it happens. You have your process, you could probably make it back over time because you've done it.
There's no fear in that, and that's a great point, because again, I know how I obtained it the first time, right? And
it wasn't on one play.
It wasn't on one trade, and then it's the accountability to accept what you didn't do right within that process. And so a lot of people have it misconstrued as well. And trading is very counterintuitive. They think, okay, well, you have a lot of money, or you had a lot of money to put into the markets. When you actually have that ability to put in money to the market, just dump it in there, it actually creates so many bad habits. For me, like, I had a stupid burn rate of life in itself, just transitioning from the NFL. And so growing a family in my 30s, like, I didn't really have a lot to spare. So as I was like dwindling in cash, it was really a problem for me, and like also working in sales, to where, again, I'm figuring out how do I manage this life of family, kids, while trying to be successful at trading. And the bottom line is I just had to work. I had to keep working. But when I started to simplify, and I got out of this notion of thinking like, I gotta be over PDT, and I just started to take smaller trades, 2,000 here, a $2,000 trade here, a $1,000 trade here. I saw those gains grow exponentially because it was the process that I was doing, right? And I never really went back to the heavy gambling. And so everything that I've done, I literally teach it from the essence of, or we teach it from the essence of, and I mentor from, you can do this at the level that you're at. Don't think you have to be Jack Kellogg. Jack Kellogg, what you see now, was not Jack Kellogg back then. That's the end product. You have to understand you have to start from somewhere, and that somewhere is not out in the clouds.
If you go back to actually Tim Grittani and Jack Kellogg, I mean, both have now made over $15 million. If you go back to their beginning trades, they're plus or minus $100, right? Like, it's crazy to see how far they've come in under a decade, but they spent every day learning, even when they were losing. Let's not forget, Jack Kellogg was actually down $10,000 in trading profits after 20 months. So nearly 2 years of losses, and he paid thousands of dollars for the challenge. So he's down roughly $20,000 in 20 months. But he didn't give up. He kept learning, because it's not just about how much you make or lose, especially in the beginning. It's why. If you can learn how you've lost, then you can avoid that in the future. If you can learn how you can profit, then you can maximize that in the future. So every trade helps you learn what to do and what not to do. Sadly, most newbies get discouraged. Like, oh, I lost money on this trade, I suck. When in fact, losing on a trade actually helps you piece the puzzle together a little bit. Stratty, another one of the great upcoming students, he's up $650,000 in profits now. He's helping me with the Inner Circle. He lost $6,000 the other day. We did an Inner Circle Zoom call. If you want in on our Zoom calls, you can click below. And he lost $6,000 on the day. I was giving him crap. I was like, how does that make you feel? And he's like, great, because I learned what not to do. And he's going to learn from it. Next day, and it was on IVVD, he got a little too aggressive. It didn't break out the way he wanted. He's like, this is good because now I've learned what not to do. The very next day, he made $20,000 plus on IVVD. So a loss is not actually the end-all be-all. It helps you learn what not to do, and then the question is, will you learn from it and adapt?
Yep.
Like, how many adaptations have you made to get over $400,000?
Oh, plenty. And in the underlying concept of understanding that all trades are not equal, where you think just because I made profit, oh, that's a great trade. It actually could have been a bad trade. You just got lucky. But some
and a loss, very similarly, a loss might not be a bad trade. The market could have done something. There could be a random piece of news.
Yep.
Not all losses are bad trades.
Absolutely. And it's just that understanding of awareness of accountability and saying, listen, did I do everything that was necessary in this setup to make sure it was right? And if it is, hey, you just true it up to the market, right? But to your point of strategy losing that 6K, when you start to, people ask well, how will I know when I'm at those moments? When you start to see the wins and the losses in a neutral perspective and just extrapolate the information that you can take to the next trade, that's when you know you're on the right track. Because again, we have this saying within the community, you're only as good as your next trade, right? To where each and every time, I ask people all the time, I say, okay, so you get to $100,000, what are you gonna do next? The answer for everybody, I'm gonna keep going. Well, of course. You get to $1 million, well, I'm gonna keep going, right? Well, that's the point. It's it'll never be enough. You're gonna get to a point to where it's okay, this is no longer about the money. This is about my process and how I do it. And the beauty of it all, you talk about being a retired trader, if I wanna get out of this at any time, I can do that because I have the confidence to know if I get back in any time, I get right back into the flow of the process.
You can go as big or as small as you want. I know most people who start small, they wanna go big.
Yeah.
They're not ready to go big.
At
right?
all.
And many traders who trade big, FYI, they want out because they're so stressed. Even if they're making a lot. I know many multi-millionaire traders and they're I wanna retire, but they're addicts. They can't stop. And this is the thing that I want you guys to understand. It doesn't matter how much you make if you're an addict, if you're a slave to the market, you're never out, right? So it doesn't matter, oh, I made 500,000, oh, I made 50,000, oh, I made 5 million. You're still gonna be trading the next day because you're an addict. And if you trade too big, you might stress yourself out. So I want you to listen to what Ellis is saying, where if you can be emotionally neutral to a trade, where you just focus on making a good trade without thinking about the money. It's tough.
Yeah.
Newbies want to make more money. They think that they're graded by the money they make. They have a lot of friends and family being this is a scam, you're getting scammed.
Yeah.
So they want to make money to prove it. But I'm not happy if you try to make money to prove it. I'm happy if you actually try to focus on a process, optimize your process, because then you're taking high odds trades after high odds trades with rules, with discipline, and the money inevitably comes.
Yeah.
If you take low odds trades, it doesn't matter if you get lucky. Let's say 10 times in a row on low odds trades, you're learning the wrong lessons because you're taking low odds trades. If you stack high odds trades, high odds trades, high odds trades with discipline over and over again, yes, you might lose on some, but your losses should be smaller than your wins, and your account inevitably grows.
Yeah.
So you can't cheat the process.
Yeah, I think what happens with a lot of people is that they want that instant gratification. They really want that sense of now. But what I try to help people with and coach them through is think of the 3 hardest things that you thought you would never be able to overcome and that you end up doing, right? Put this in that same category, because eventually if you stick with this and go with it and get that perspective, you will find some level of success. But as long as you keep trying to shortcut your way or get hype about the chat room or that $3 trade or whatever it is, you're always going to get caught up in this rat race of just the emotional side of it. And usually what I say, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, is that whatever's going on in the market as far as your performance, it normally has some sort of external connection to how you're living your life. To where if you're an alpha or if you're a dominant person, stubborn, hard-headed, you're probably doubling down on trades, bag holding trades, all this other stuff. If you don't confidently say certain things around people, if you're not projecting your voice, you probably get timid and hitting the buy button. And so you want to find out more about how you can perform better in the market. Start to ask people that you care about or that care about you how you are performing in life. And trust me, you'll get a clear understanding of how those things start to correlate.
But this is what I love about trading. It's not just about making money. It's finding out what you're best at, finding what you're not good at, optimizing, gaining self-confidence, actually using trading to really build your life and your family's life. I know your family appreciates what trading has done for you, right?
They have, yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing. It all works in harmony, but you got to get on the right path. We got to get going, but I do want to thank Ellis for his time. Leave a comment below. Congratulate him on his $400,000 so far in profits. He's on the right track, as you can tell. He's very, attentive to his emotions, and he's really going to become a millionaire in trading in the next few years, all the while helping other students learn too, which I think is a great gift in the challenge. So I know many of you challenge students are grateful for his weekly webinars and his mentoring. So all we can say is study up. Keep up the good work, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Let's see what more you can accomplish. I'm going to keep going. Now let's see what you can accomplish. Learn from the paths of my millionaire students, my upcoming millionaire students, and just get on the right path. Trading does not have to be this addictive, soul-sucking pursuit that it is for many gamblers. We're here in Vegas. Okay? This is the town built on gamblers. You don't have to gamble. You don't have to take any trade you don't want to, especially any low-odds trade or guessing game trade. Focus on your discipline and your process. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you understand it. What was that phrase you had?
Better than most, mostly better. And not one day, but day one.
And every day.
And every day. Take action.